Hello, everybody. It is so good to see you tonight. I got caught off a little bit off guard. I'm trying to retweet and repost, but my name is Melody McAllister. And if this is your first time joining me for a book chat, you are in for a special treat tonight. And I thank you for tuning in, whether it's from Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I want to thank Alice Keeler for letting us go through her platform. And we are in for a treat tonight. So I want to welcome my friend, Kristen Nan, who is an educator, author, speaker, mom, wife, everything. And the last time I talked with you, Kristen, you have been a third grade teacher for many years, even though you don't look like you could be. Like, you look like you just, got out of college, last year, but you've been teaching third grade for a little bit. But the last time we talked about 6 months ago, you had transferred into a new position. You kind of took a gamble. And so if you kind of can tell, we're going to do a little Vegas theme. And so tell us about your new position and just kind of where you are right now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Melody, for having me. And thank you to Alice for the platform. I have to say, being a cyber instructor has been this new journey from start to finish. Literally, there was absolutely nothing about it that I knew how to do. So it was a matter of, here we were in the middle of a pandemic. Here we were, our community was calling out to us saying, we don't want to send our kids in person full time. What can we do? What are our options? So along comes this cyberspace that Dr. J.C. Maslick and Dr. Michelle Miller helped with our board to put together, and they needed a number of us to step up to the plate, and we did. And we came in as a team. We started making things, happen. We had to learn a new way of, the biggest thing of all was how to build a relationship with a child across the screen that you've never met before. Because let it be known that we have 3 different elementaries within our community. So many of my students have not come through my elementary, to which I would have already had some kind of maybe relationship, reputation, something within their family space, nothing. So, they were taking a risk taking on having space with me. They were taking a chance just as I was. These students were coming into a space to learn with someone they've never met before. And, to be able to communicate and build that relationship across a screen, it was the most humbling experience ever. For the first time, I couldn't fall back on the reputation that I thought I built for myself. I really had to start from scratch. And it really has reminded me of just those real moments that you piece together from the very beginning that mean everything to both sides. So it's been a beautiful experience.
Right.
It really has.
I mean, you say that it's new, but I mean, you wrote a book about taking a gamble. So it's you wrote a book and then boom, you've got to put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
You got to take a chance. You got to place a bet. You got to do something new. And I love how that, both you and I both believe in God, and we both believe in destiny and faith. And so I love that it was the next step. I feel like it was a natural step for you. So we're actually going to talk about it. So Kristen and Dr. J.C. Maslick, they wrote this book together, All In, Taking a Gamble in Education. Oops, I don't want to cover up your names. And it's so exciting because I consider both of you my friends.
Yes.
And what I really appreciated about this book is it was I couldn't put it down once I started reading it. And I've told you this, you set it up so well. It was told in a story form. So you're kind of getting some professional development, but you're also reading a story. We're getting a glimpse into the life of Dr. J.C. Maslick, and the way that y'all work together. And it wasn't a very wonderful beginning. The beginning of your book was pretty sad, but it was something that all of us have gone through, I think. And I just want to commend you on your bravery. In your book, you talk about how you told school leaders that they need to start treating teachers like y'all teach, or you treat your students, because there was support. And instead of support coming to you, you faced backlash. And I know I'm giving away a lot of the story, but JC knew that when she approached you. And I thought that was a question, did she purposely approached you? And so,
I don't know.
Go ahead.
No, everything that you're saying just completely resonates to my soul, because that is my story. That is our story. And and not to downplay or discredit the admin that was before JC, because I do believe in all my heart they were doing the best job that they could at the time that they were within my space. It was what they knew, many times throughout our careers, we do what we do because that's what's been done. And I just feel that that's kind of where we were within our district and in our community and in our space. But that really held me back as to what I knew I could bring out in students. It wasn't about what I was capable of. It was about what I knew they could do if only I were able to give them a different opportunity. And that was where that very bold statement, I got very frustrated. It was a really low point in my career when I said I really just wanted for us what we wanted for our students. I wanted to be listened to. I wanted to be trusted. I wanted them to know that the decisions I was making for my students, it was because I truly knew that that was in their best interest. And I didn't want to be taken for granted in a way of just, I wasn't just a warm body in a room. I really did have something to give. And that was a bold statement that did not go over well. That was a statement that I found myself in a position where I needed to defend it. I needed to be able to come to admin. It wasn't something that was just set on a sidebar. That was something that then became a major conversation around a boardroom table. And, I just stood true to what I believed. I stood true to how I felt for students, for myself, for my colleagues. And I was ready. I was ready to trust again. I just didn't know it was in front of me the day that it happened. So when JC did stuff, literally, right? Because it was, you do feel defeated to a certain degree when you aren't in the best place you could possibly be. And for me, it was more my mindset. If there's something I have learned, with all the beautiful people that I have had in my life and have in my life, George Couros has always talked about, my mindset and our mindset and how we need to shift that. And our most innovative practices are really when we truly don't have much else to bring in and lean on. It's what we're doing within the space that we actually have. And it was then that I realized I needed to flip my own mindset. I needed to see things through a different viewpoint. I needed to start being able to make change within the space that I was actually given. I was super blessed because that was the day that JC walked in my room, and that flipped the switch on everything. Truly, it did.
And I just want and to preface this, you even talk about, and what I really love about this book is the theme of relationships that starts at the very beginning, but starts with the broken relationships, but it continues throughout. The walls that come down between your relationship with JC and then with other teachers in your district, and just the ability to stop saying no. You were talking about how, because it was like a top-down, trickle-down situation, and I thought that was so honest. You're actually vulnerable throughout the entire story, which is amazing to put yourself up like that. I commend you for that. But it's just like that no culture, that no, and then we pass that on to our kids. We pass that on to our students. And then what is the beautiful part of this is the yes, when you start saying yes to yourself. And not everybody was able to come back like you. Not everybody was able to flip that switch like you were.
No, but I will. I appreciate that so much, and I value that, and I do not discredit or take, I don't discredit what that was, that time period in my life, nor do I take it for granted in any way. I will tell you the beautiful, beautiful part of it was that I realized every single thing that JC was gifting to me, I could then in turn gift to others. It wasn't about just filling me up, even though this book exploded with the ways that we can change things as an educator and not feel so drained and worn out. I mean, think about our students who have been going through the same process for all these years and it's looked the same. I mean, the fact that your grandparents and your parents and all those before you can tell the exact same story about education, something has to just go, what? Why? How can we do this and relate so well to that exact same experience? So much has changed, right? And every time that JC said yes to me, it was a moment that I told myself I will say yes to my students. So what gift I was given was a gift I was going to give. And that's what started my 30-second empower pitch, because I would go to JC and I always feel like I have to explain myself. And that's just years of having to do that. And in this case, I didn't have to do that with her. She was just like, go do it, try it. Like, don't give me the explanation. It's gonna be way too long the time that I have, right? Like, give me a 30-second, forget the minute, elevator, give me 30 seconds. And so I started doing that with my students, because I don't have all the time in the world to be able to take 25 stories, with each subject, with each idea. And so I told them 30 seconds or less, if you can come to me and pitch your idea. I never wanted them to think that their idea was ever going to be just hinged on my yes or no answer. I just felt that they should be able to come to me knowing if they could defend what they wanted to do, then that was their go ahead right there. No need for me to bless it. They needed to feel totally blessed themselves. So that was huge.
And I think that's when you need to have your poker face. Like, they don't really need to know the fear that's going on right there when they're saying, yeah, they're like giving you their elevator pitch,
oh
and you're wondering.
You just told me that you're going to do an entire math lesson with Legos? Oh, for the love of Peter and Paul, please tell me it's going to come out, right? Because we have to say.
I love that. And we're going to come back to that poker face, because we might need those sunglasses when we start reading. And I'm sorry about my hair. But I love it. I love it. It really is a gamble. And I love that you're saying with the gift that you received, you passed on. When I blog about this, I'm gonna use that. I'm just saying. Okay. Another part of your book. This is where I might have to put. I might have to. We've talked. Okay. And I never even mentioned this, but your book is not broken up into chapters. It's all Vegas. It's bets. It's ante up. You have beignets from all these other educators. I literally felt like, and because I know you and Dr. JC, I felt like you guys were telling me the story in my head when I was reading it. And then we had all of these surprise visits from our friends. It's a wonderful experience. And but my favorite chapter was the one that made me cry. I wasn't expecting it. Okay. And I'm going to give you the opportunity, if you want to read it, Bet 9, Token of Appreciation. But I'm ready to go, because I feel like I'll be less likely to cry than you.
Okay, do it, Melody. Right. Do it.
And to preface this, you and JC, you were yes. You were beginning to start a new chapter. You were growing, and you were loving it. Okay. And so this is where we pick up. All right. Bet 9, Token of Appreciation. As my son Trent was returning from the mailbox, I could see that a small envelope had gotten his attention and left him with a quizzical look on his face. I asked him what was on his mind, and he said there was a card addressed to him, his brother Jack, and his dad. I immediately told him to open it. The suspense would kill us to wait for my husband to get home, so we did. It was a card from JC to my family. I could barely read it. The tears rolled down my face. Trent put his arm around me and asked if he could finish reading it for me. JC was thanking my family. She was thanking them for sacrificing their family time with me so that I could grow, so that I could be the best teacher I could possibly be. She was thanking my family. I picked up the phone and called my mother-in-law. I couldn't get the words out through my tears. She could tell they were tears full of so much emotion, tears of joy, tears of redemption, tears of gratefulness, tears of appreciation, tears of pain. The pain I needed to let go of so that I could finally embrace the pure goodness to which I had right there in my life. Mom knew what this meant to me. She knew that this was all I needed to continue my journey, to move mountains again, to knock down barriers in education, to be my own voice and own it, to be prideful, to be a change agent for all children. My last words that day on the phone were, "Mom, I wish you could have worked for her. You would have loved her." Mom's reply was, "I do." Whew. I didn't cry, but I got like all the goosebumps, even though I'm reading it. That is so beautiful.
It's like 1,000 emotions, Melody. Like, first of all, to hear my story being read by someone else is the most humbling experience. So thank you. Thank you. My mother-in-law worked for the district for 52 years, and we lost her several years ago. She is every bit of a reason, the reason I'm sitting here today. If there was ever someone to push me to speak up and be an advocate for every child and for every teacher and for the community, it was her. And that is one thing that I promise myself always, that her legacy will live on through every action and word that I speak. And I pray I do right by her. You know, that day was everything to me, because for every single teacher that stays late past that last bell, for every teacher that brings that bag of papers home, you know, this is everybody. This is every single teacher I'm speaking for. For every single teacher that lays awake at night worrying about their children, their students, because we don't pick and choose just randomly who's on our heart. You know, they're on our heart because they're part of our lives, right? For every teacher that is working over the weekend, for every teacher that works over the summer, you know, those who think that teachers have summers off have never walked in a teacher's shoes. And so for every single time that we're doing PD, for every single time that we're going to learn more for our children, for our students, for the community, that is not just us saying yes. That is our entire family. That is every moment away from our children. That is every moment away from our husband. That's every moment away from our parents, from our siblings, from everyone. And the day that thank you came, I had never received a thank you like that. I never received that. And my husband was truly touched in a way that he's not an emotional man. And he read that and he hugged me because he knew that meant everything to me. My children did, my mother-in-law did, you know, everything for my entire family, for every moment that she watched over the boys, every single time I was going to all the professional development, every single thing that everybody did to put in place for me to be better for my students. This is never about us. It really isn't. And so I just felt like that moment, that note of appreciation, it was for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
It is beautiful. And we were talking about this earlier, and your brother is in the military, but oftentimes we know that when we thank, you know, our military, we thank their families because it is a sacrifice. And I've talked about it with my friends who are in the military, but it's so similar because everything that you just said, our family, our kids have to share their moms or their dads with so many other people. And you and I know the guilt that comes with just sharing and not being there for our kids, but being there for other people's kids for 8 hours a day or more. And I love that. That actually, like, I just had tears streaming down my face. And I know you can't see it now, but I'm so touched even more by your explanation. And I don't know your mother-in-law, but I sure wish I did. She just sounds like such a phenomenal woman. And I don't want to say any more. Put your glasses on. I'm not trying to make you cry. Let's have a drink. All right. Let's do
it. This is for Mom. She'd be so pleased.
Yeah.
She would.
Oh my God. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers to all the people who support the educators to make it possible, because y'all are amazing.
Truly.
Okay.
And Melody, I have to say, my brother-in-law, oh my goodness gracious, I'm losing it. My brother, who is a CW5 in the Army, is 29 years in the military now. And we always, whenever we're together, we talk the parallels of education and military to the nth degree. And you nailed it when you said it is a whole family affair. It is sharing every yes, every no, every maybe, every let me think about it, every decision, everything, your heart, your soul, all of it, your mind. It is full throttle, full family, always. So I love that you brought that up. Thank you so much.
Well, your book is just that inspirational. It just brings up a lot. I love it. I love it. And again, And really quick too, before we go on to another point, why did you decide to make it bets and not chapters?
Okay, so I always share this with my students because there's always someone in the room that can appreciate this. But when I was a child, it wasn't really my thing to read. Like I didn't really care for reading. I read when I was very small, or I liked to be read to. But when it became a structured situation where I had to read
Right.
and comprehend and take away information and then, basically regurgitate it and put it back in like test form, I just, I lost so much interest in it. I didn't want to do it anymore. And it's one of those things that I don't know how many teachers really want to admit to that, but that was my story. So I didn't really care
Right.
about it. And one day, JC said to me, "So, well, what did you read last?" And, I mean, she is a literary guru. Like she was waiting for my answer, and I was embarrassed because I didn't have one because I had not read anything in forever. Like maybe like Robert Frost poems, like I don't know, 20 years ago because it inspired me. I've always been more of a writer. I journal, I'll do gratitude journals, I'll reflect, like I write. Read, ah, it just couldn't keep my attention. So when we decided to write the book, she was like, okay, so what do you think chapter 1 should be? Okay, maybe she went like this. It wasn't probably that animated. It was probably more like, so what do you think chapter 1 should be? And I was like, ooh, chapters? She was like, and she always gives me that look. And I was like, oh, I just don't think I can do chapters. Like, can we just call them something else? And she always thinks like I'm crazy in the moment. Like the split second, you can see the crazy, like, judgment in her eyes. But she hears me. And she was like, all right, you want to call them chapters? What do you want to call them then? She's not going to give me the answer, but she's going to make me think about it. Like if I'm going to say that and be so bold, well, then come up with an answer. Right? So that's how I was like, I want to challenge people to think beyond our story. I don't want them to read it and put it down and go, that was a great story, even though I hope that it resonates with them. I want them to read it and go, wow, if she could do it, I bet I could. If she could do it, I bet I could do that. And it was one of those moments of let people feel the empowerment of being bet. My husband will say, if you ever want to see Kristen do something, tell her she can't.
Right. Yep.
It just, I wanted to give it an energy that wasn't out there. And it was something I had not read yet. And I had read probably 100 books in the span of JC, challenging me until the time we actually wrote our book. And I had not seen anything like it. So I felt like it brought a different spin.
I love that. And I'm going to talk about your next bet that really resonated with me. Bet 21, challenging the pit boss. And when you talk about the different roles, like you're the player and JC is the pit boss, and then at the end we kind of talk about how that can be reversed and flipped and all sorts of things. But when you have a friend in admin or a colleague in admin that you're working closely with, you're not always gonna, and it doesn't even matter if it's work, like in life, when you get close with people and your life starts revolving in a direction that they're going in, also conflict arises. And so I like that previous to this, you and JC, you had a trusting relationship that was building and building and building. And then it comes to this moment where it's like conflict. And we see all too much in our world where people are just like, bye. Like they have no idea how to work through that, but you did. And I loved this chapter. So tell us a little bit about challenging the pit boss.
Absolutely. So I have always been the teacher that if you come up to me and challenge me, whether it's, I don't think you said that properly, or, I think there's a different answer, I just always been curious. I'm curious by nature. So I'm always like, all right, well, tell me about that. Well, that really rubbed people in general the wrong way, because then that almost it was like a permission given to that student to then continue to do that throughout their career. And when you have a teacher who's going to entertain it, and then you have teachers who don't entertain it, that definitely becomes a conflict. But because that is who I am, and I honestly, I'm not going to apologize for it, because I truly feel that has given children a voice. I always just want that with others. I want that sticky moment to be able to like work its way out. And here's the thing, if it still is sticky in the end, like I'm okay, like it's all right, we can toss that aside. I just want to be able to have the conversation. So challenging the pit boss became this like, I think, I mean, I could be totally off on this, but I'm pretty sure JC like knew that about me when she came into the district. But I will tell you, Melody, with all my heart, it's not because I am not disrespectful by nature. I am curious. I'm concerned. I would like to learn and grow through whatever the explanation is. So I am that kid. I am that kid that says why. But the minute you remove the why from the situation, we all stop learning, right? We all do, no matter what your age is. So think about the second grader or the 5-year-old that's why this mom, why this mom, why this dad, and you're like, just because I said so. Well, that happens to continue on, right? As we go through life, because eventually we just get to a point where we want to be able to say, go do it. And somebody, for the love of Peter and Paul, just go do it, right? But challenging the pit boss, every situation possible. If I bring something to my team, I don't want my team just to go, okay, that sounds great, Kristen, let's do it. Like, I want them to go, okay, how are we going to do that today? How's that going to look to parents? What are we going to do with the kids who don't like that idea? Like, that's what I'm looking for. It just hasn't always gone that well and that easy for me to be able to have those conversations. And what I've learned from JC is I had to tweak my approach on that as well. I had to remove some emotions from it, because I do wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to kids. So if someone is telling me to do something that I really don't think is in the best interest of a kid, I would have a tendency to go like, what? Like, I'd have that very emotional reaction, like,
right.
Oh my gosh, like, are you crazy? When was the last time you were in the classroom? That kind of like that person. I was that person, right?
I am too. Let's drink to that one. Just saying. Cheers.
Like, whatever, So I just knew, as I was listening and learning from JC, she was showing me that, yes, we can have these conversations, Kristen, but it doesn't mean it's always going to end up the way maybe you wanted to, or maybe the way you thought it would. Or actually, there were just times it was okay for it to end up the way it started. I was just really looking to understand. And she put that in the book. Like, when she wrote that in the book, that was everything to me, Melody, because I didn't tell her what to write. I started that bet out. She responded, and she knew me so well when she responded in that bet. Her perspective was to know Kristen and understand Kristen. Isn't that she's coming with disrespect. She just wants to understand why. What is the relevance? Because once I do, I'm going to have your back, and I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to lay it out to every kid that this is the best thing next to sliced bread. Just give me a chance. Give me a chance to understand it.
And talk about a gift that you were given to give to your students. Again, a great example. And a lot of times we don't always receive that from students. So I love that. And I absolutely, that just the way she knew you needed to vent. She knew that you wanted to understand. And you knew on the other side, you understood that you had things to learn, and it was okay. Like, you didn't quit, you didn't give up, you didn't like divorce each other. It's amazing. And I just want to say that because all too often in our culture.
Yes. Right. No, it's so true. Like, and that is the toughest thing is when you find that you are within a space with maybe another personality that you can't work it out with, that's really troubling, you know, and we're always trying to find students, find a way for students to be able to work that out with themselves. But we as adults find ourselves in the same situations. And,
It's true.
you know, so yes, you're absolutely right. And the beautiful part about JC and I is that every single thing we brought to each other, it was like we were gifted this space to be able to see within each other's heart and mind, because it's not just about the heart, it really is the mind too. We had so much respect for what the other person had to give. And that in itself was like, okay, I want to take a little bit more. I want to take some time to figure this out, because we could really be super, incredible together. We could do amazing things if we could just find that common language. And that is the gift you give one another when you stay within that space and figure it out. It's okay to disagree.
Yes.
And the best things ever come out of disagreeing. So
yes.
Yes.
God, girl, you are just having some moments here. That was amazing. Yes, stick with it. And that kind of comes to your part where you're going to read aloud, just kind of to put it all together, Bet 27 all in. And you just kind of definitely naturally got to here. So I can't wait for you to read kind of the closing, the culmination of the book, all in.
All right, let's do it. I'm going to have to put on my pretty little glasses for this one. Here we go. All right. So this is Bet 27, all in. The moment is there. It is right in front of you. You can feel your heart beating just a bit faster. Your hands start to sweat. The back of your neck feels clammy. And you reach back to wipe it as if that's all you need. You are there. You're feeling the moment. The one that you know that you could have, that could have endless possibilities. The one that may be too radical for most. The one that you're afraid of, for it may go south way quicker than you can ever blink an eye. Do you fold? Do you walk away wondering what if? Or are you all in? The stacks of chips are high. You've been working your way to this point for so long. It was becoming easier just to hold on to them. Your possessions, your winnings, your comfort zone, your world as you knew it. You push the chips to the middle. You don't even know what to think. You are so scared that your hands are shaking, but you see yourself acting quickly before the chance gets away from you. Done. You stand back. You hold your breath. You are there. You are all in. These moments are there for each of us every single day. We must look for them. We must embrace them. We must act. We must go in for every child. Be the one. Have the guts to do it. Fight the fear of not knowing if you will be successful or not. Just taking the opportunity gives you 100% more chance than the person who doesn't. Step up. Push those chips in. Let the world take notice. You are brave. You are the risk taker. You exude confidence. You are all in.
Woo! That was good. I might have to put my glasses on again.
I'm gonna have to get my other glasses on.
I love that. Like I seriously, I love it. I got goosebumps, everything. And I want to flash this on the screen again. If you want to order an autographed copy, just go to bit.ly/autographed copy of All in Edu, and notice the cases are important. So yes, and I dropped it in the comments. But yeah, that is so cool. And I also dropped in the comments, if you just want to order from Amazon, I dropped that too. That is so cool. We are at the end of our book chat, and I just can't tell you how overwhelmed I am with emotion. It's just so beautiful to hear you read your story and to talk about it with so much heart. How can we follow your work, Kristen?
Oh my goodness. Well, I will tell you, Melody, I was challenged years ago to get started on the blog, right? And about 3 years ago, I started it with the push of Dr. J.C. Maslick and George Couros, and I just hit my 100th blog. So I was pretty excited about that. And you can find that. Thanks, girl. You can find that at KristenNan.com. So KristenNan.com, that's where you can find my space. You can connect to both my classrooms, both virtually and in person. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at NanKR1120, and on Facebook at Kristen Kilgore Nan. Thank you, Melody.
Nice. Yes, no, thank you so much. And I hope that so go to her blog. I can't wait to see your 100th blog. And I have everything, Shirley. And you're also on Instagram.
I am.
Same Twitter handle.
Yes.
Oh, yes, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It's been such a fun time talking with you, and just anytime we get to share space, it's just amazing. And I appreciate you. And I got to drink a little bit of bourbon. It's just I got to pretend like I was in Vegas for a little bit.
I know, right? Gotta have a little fun.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time, so it's been wonderful. And I just want to put this out there. If you love a book, if you love an author, one of the best things that you can do to celebrate them is post a review, a wonderful 5-star review for them. If you have read Kristen's book or you get it and you love it, make sure to give her a review. It really does help us. So thank you again. Everybody, thank you for joining in. I hope that you were inspired. I hope you have a great week and weekend. And thank you for all you do, to every educator, to all of your family members, for all of the sacrifice that you make. We appreciate you so much. And we will see you again really soon.
Thank you, Melody.
Bye, everybody.